Okay, so before this video starts, I just want you all to know, wait, the video did start, but before I get into what I'm going to talk about, I'm just letting you know for this whole video, the talking head, like me talking to y'all, I'm just going to try to use lights that are in my house. So yeah, like lamps, candles, overhead lights and stuff like that. I'm going to try to see what I can do. I haven't planned it out yet, but we're just gonna go step by step. So yeah, take this journey with me as I talk about being creative with what you have. Yeah, and the theme is, me just around the house, different lighting scenarios with just the lights that I have in the house. Yeah. All right, we're gonna see how this works. So I know a lot of us cinematographers, videographers wish that, we had the big budget, all the fancy lights. I'm one of them. Sometimes I may not go out and shoot because I'm like, I don't have enough lighting. I don't have the fancy stuff. I don't have all the things that YouTubers talk about. But that's okay, because there is one thing that we all have, and that is creativity. And I don't think creativity can be judged. Creativity is what you make it. Simply what you make it. So real quick, I'm gonna play this quick short clip that I did. I just went to a random park. I was feeling uninspired that day, and I just went to a park near me and just tried to create something. So yeah, enjoy it. Oh gosh. As you can see, I just had to light another stem of this candle because I needed more light. My face was looking extremely dark. So yeah, I just did that. Okay, and speaking on that sequence I just showed you guys, I just went to the park and shot what I could shoot during my lunch break. And it really just made me realize the beauty of natural light. And it made me fall more in love with doing cinematography and, being a director of photography. And I remember when I first started really liking cinematography, I just fell in love with the daylight look. And then of course, as I progressed, I learned to love nighttime looks and, evening type vibes where the sun isn't always out. And in all my years of doing cinematography and videography, I just enjoy the most shooting in the daytime. And I just think it makes it easier to focus on framing and composition when your light source is constant like the sun, or powerful enough like the sun. So if you're an aspiring cinematographer or director of photography, start getting comfortable with just shooting in the day, paying attention to how the sun moves around the globe, knowing where the sun is at 5 p.m., knowing where the sun is at 5 a.m. It'll make it a lot easier to make your shoots look better. When I shot that sequence, it was an overcast day, probably around like 5 p.m. It had just rained, and I just really liked the vibe that I was getting when I was out there. But that's besides the point, because I'm right by this candle. It's very scented. It's getting all in my nose and stuff. So yeah, I'm going to change locations. Really quickly, just want to talk about this setup because it actually looks pretty dope. I put like a piece of paper in this light so it could be a little more directional, because if I took it out, the light would just spread everywhere. Kind of just want it to be like this. And I got this candle right in the foreground. And then in the laundry room, I have the light on, and I cracked the door so it could make just some type of pattern right there. And I also have just white paper right here bouncing back up into my face. So I should be perfectly exposed, hopefully. You know, I don't have the monitor, so I can't really tell. But yeah, just want to talk about depth. As a cinematographer or DP, you want to create depth in your image to make it seem three-dimensional. I know some of you have heard of the light, dark, light vibe, or light, dark, light feel, or whatever it is. Really just using shadows, highlights, and also like shooting into certain parts of the room, having foreground elements and background elements. So yeah, that's what this is about. And like I explained, I feel like I have depth in this image. Candle right here in the foreground, me in the middle ground. I feel like I'm lit properly. Let me back up a little bit. Might be good now. And then of course, just a little blob of light right back there coming from the laundry room. So look for ways to create depth with lighting or also with subjects. So yeah, hope you guys understand that. If you have any questions about depth, I'll try to make another video about it to give better examples and stuff like that. But yeah, moving on. I think the next thing I'm going to talk about is knowing your camera, knowing your gear. Now, I remember when I was first starting off as a DP or a cinematographer, videographer, whatever you want to call it, I wanted so many different types of gear. I wanted the best cinema camera. I wanted the best lights. I wanted it because I saw other people with it. And really, equipment, camera gear is just a tool. But there is a principle that's in the earth. It's from the Bible, actually, which talks about managing what you have right now in your hands, managing the little that you do have. And the person who does that can be trusted with more. So starting off, I had a Nikon D3300. And, you know, nowadays it's not a camera people would go for. I mean, it could do photo and video, but it just wasn't good. It didn't have a lot of dynamic range. And, you know, starting off, I just had a kit lens, a 18 to 55 f3.5 to f5.6. So I didn't have a beast of a camera. But one thing I did notice is that I ended up using that camera so much for everything that I knew it like the back of my hand. And even though I knew I could take, you know, my images to the next level with a new camera, I still used the camera I had. I still learned more and more about it. There were things that I didn't know I could do with that camera that I was able to do just because I got out and shot, and I was just happy to be able to shoot. And I know nowadays, you know, some people in my position or maybe less experienced than me, we can lose a lot of hope and joy because we don't have the equipment that other people have. But I just encourage you to learn your camera, learn your equipment, you know, as much as you can while you have it, because you will upgrade eventually. And you got to realize when you upgrade, you're going to have to learn more. Like there's going to be a learning curve. But I do think learning more about my D3300 helped me transition better to the camera I'm using right now, which is the Nikon Z6. And this is another camera I want to upgrade eventually. So I'm going to continue to use it and learn more about it, learn more tips and tricks, push it to its limits. And that's another thing about knowing your camera equipment. you know what limits it has. You know where your camera succeeds and you know where it fails at. So yeah, I just encourage you all to learn your equipment now. Don't take it for granted. Just get out and shoot. That's all you have to do. Okay, that concludes today's video. And this thing that you're looking at right now, it is a dishwasher that my wife got, and it has a smiley face. I just thought that was interesting, so I'm just putting it in here. It's pretty dope. It's backlit. You know, you got this shadow side. We're shooting to the shadow side. Actually, I'm going to turn it a little more. Oh, not too much. We're shooting to the shadow side. The light is on this side of the frame, so we're shooting to the light. And yeah, it just looks pretty cool. I'm going to try to color grade it right now. And yeah, you guys have a blessed day. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, get out and shoot. Learn your cameras. Do as much as you can with natural light and be grateful for what you have. All right, peace.